committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says government will be very soon making its position clear in relation to the ongoing customs to BRA transition issue. He says his ministry and the Ministry of Labour will be hosting a joint press conference to address the key issues head-on, but he insists that government has so far been bending over backwards on the matter. He made the comment during a sit-down with members of the business community at the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry's monthly business luncheon.
This is not 2 years, this is not a year, this is 3 or 4 years. In fact, if you really take it, based on the conceptualization of it, this is nearly 10 years or more that this process has been ongoing. And yet we get to a stage, every time we get to a stage where we think there is some other thing that comes up from the union about the transition. I mean, few people know that the committee that worked on the establishment of the Barbados Revenue Authority and also the transition of customs into the Barbados Revenue Authority had sitting on it representatives from the unions. The basic structure was designed, IKMO found it already designed.
Mr. Sinclair says the outstanding issues should therefore have been resolved by now.
First there was the issue of appointments. We delayed it since last year and said, let's do the appointments. My remonstration to them is, are you sure this is the process you want to go through? They said yes. You remember there was a go slow or some kind of work to roll, which they said really wasn't happening, but we know it was happening. And we said they wanted to get appointments. So we opened up the process and the appointments, they went through. It's a laborious process. Went through, appointments have been made. Now we've reached the stage where all of that is completed. We're getting ready for the transition, but all the issues are not resolved yet. We still have to get everybody appointed. When it is known by the unions.
Mr. Sinclair explained that some of the appointments are simply not possible for various reasons, including the fact that some of the officers the union wants appointed are not qualified for the positions. Another water-scarce community is set to get relief in the coming days. This time, it's residents in Mount Hillaby, St. Andrew, who've been plagued by off-and-on water outages in recent time. After hearing their appeals, the Barbados Water Authority is moving to set up 2 community tanks in that area. Corporate Communications Specialist Joyanne Haig made the announcement during a tour of the community over the weekend as one of the BWA's new tankers delivered water to residents there. She says other community tanks have already been set up in nearby Gregg Farm and White Hill. According to her, this is part of the authority's mitigation strategy as they try to restore water levels at the Castle Grant system, which is the only source that serves Mount Hillaby and other nearby districts because of the elevation in that region.
Once the second borehole that we just left in St. George and gets into the system, and based on what the manager of engineering said, Mr. Stephen Lindo, he is happy with what he's seen so far. So we wouldn't have to use this system on a daily basis as a response to the drought, because that system should be, if all goes to plan, up and running. But just remember, we have burst mains that will still occur in various areas across the island. Pumping stations will have problems, and we're going to shut systems down in order to upgrade systems for a few hours to improve them. So this response now will then move over to that. But at least that wouldn't be a day-to-day outage for the same area. That's just a response to a temporary outage for a couple of hours.
And you'll get to see the full extent of the problem and the BWA's solutions in upcoming editions of Water Wednesdays, which airs every Wednesday during the CBC Evening News. One of the island's main trade unions is making healthy living a top priority. And today, the Barbados Workers Union sought to get the message across to members as their health fair came off at Solidarity House. General Secretary Tony Moore says they're encouraging healthy lifestyles. She says the incidence of non-communicable diseases contributes to levels of absenteeism and productivity in the workplace.
When we look around our workplaces, And we hear all these cries of absenteeism and low productivity. And when we recognize, and farmer wellness will, I'm sure, indicate to you, for those of you who have not heard Mr. Prescott before, they will be able to draw the significant linkages between persons who are absent on account of non-communicable diseases and the low levels of productivity, because obviously if you're not at work, you can't be productive.
The BWU, was also presented with a donation of $4,000 by Guardian Group to support its health fair activities. Ms. Moore says an insurance plan is in the works and will offer special incentives for healthy members.
The Barbados Workers Union is committed to offering a plan that encourages people to take their own wellness as their own responsibility, even if it means that we have to reward them for doing so. So we are relentless in that commitment.
A number of people are assisting police as they investigate the death of Frederick Christopher Hawksworth. This as police say they've made a major breakthrough in the case. Police discovered the lifeless body of the 54-year-old in a motor car around 5 minutes after 5 on Saturday afternoon. The car was parked off the road in a bushy track which leads from Mullins Road onto Bakers in St. Peter. Hawksworth's wife had reported him missing just hours prior, telling police he left their Rockdundo Heights St. Michael home on Friday morning to take his children to school and did not return. Courtesy Garage Limited has followed its parent company, Goddard Enterprises Limited, and has come on board with the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation to hoist the 5th Barbados flag outside of the corporation. Goddard was the second corporate entity to partner with the Guardians of Our Heritage salute. Every morning until mid-November, a Barbados flag will be raised over a plaque bearing the name of one of the CBC's corporate partners. A team from Courtesy, including Regional After Sales Manager Michael Best and representatives of the CBC, led by Deputy General Manager Rod London, were on hand to witness the flag raising. Director of Sales and Marketing at the CBC, Diane Ford, says the initiative is a way of expressing love for Barbados, and she thanked Courtesy for coming on board.
Really is a significant anniversary for Barbados, and it's good to have corporate Barbados all join in because this is our nation and it's important that we recognize that, especially at this time.
Well, Regional After Sales Manager at Courtesy Garage, Michael Best, says the company is pleased to be part of the initiative. The year 1966 is also significant to the Wildy St. Michael Company, as it is 50 years ago the brand was started. Mr. says Courtesy has achieved a lot over those years.
Service that we've been able to give to Barbados and the reputation that we've been able to achieve, those are very proud moments for us as well. And so this is another opportunity that's for us to celebrate those achievements.
Defeated Barbados Labour Party St. Michael South Central candidate David Gill has cried foul at the nomination process, which ended in his 103 to 132 vote loss to Marcia Cadell. Speaking during a sit-down with a CBC team, Mr. Gill says his major point of contention is that established policy and procedure was not followed on this occasion. He says not only was the membership list of the voters not endorsed by the board, the date announced by the General Secretary for elections fell within the allotted 6-week time frame for membership ratification.
I call it a contract. When you contract to run to be a candidate, the date that was announced begins the process. And if you put the ending of the working of the contract to fall within the legalized or the constitutionalized time for which you should be up, or in the offices for ratification, well then that's not my fault. That is your fault.
Mr. Gill says, furthermore, the 71 membership forms in dispute were submitted prior to the announcement of elections, with the prospective members then showing up expecting to vote. He also disclosed that while he will not leave the BLP, he will not work with Ms. Cadell in her capacity as the St. Michael South Central representative.
I cannot now walk with somebody who was not there for the past 3 years and 4 or 5 months and say, look, forget my personal endorsement, I have brought this person now to be in my place. It just cannot happen. And I would find even greater difficulty working with the General Secretary.
Well, when contacted, Opposition Leader Mia Motley said she stood by the comments made by General Secretary of the party, Dr. Jerome Walcott, at the nomination meeting over the weekend. On Sunday night, the BLP's General Secretary cited Article 22D of the BLP's Constitution, which states that a person needs to be a member of the party for 6 weeks before that membership is recognized. He noted that Mr. Gill submitted 71 forms on the 26th of August, of which 23 were incomplete, which meant that those members would only be eligible to vote on October 9th, therefore missing the October 2nd voting deadline. Well, coming up after this break, more news. Stay with us.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Peoples, we store just got even better. Come on in. Come down to the new renovated People's Market in Tudor Bridge with bigger aisles and even more in store. All your general grocery needs. A whole new fruits and vegetable section. Beer, wine and liquor. A wide selection of meat and fish. And everything for your outdoor chilling and barbecue grilling. But most of all, everything at low prices. Right, Miss Evans?
That's right, Ma. I know we have the People's Mall too.
Peoples, come on down to the People's Market in Tudor Bridge.
Hey, flash sale at Shoemax. Sandals, $25 for 1 week only. Hey, flash sale at Shoemax. Sandals, $25 for 1 week only.
Join us this Saturday, October 1st at 8:03 p.m. for QTV, when we bring you all the sights and sounds of Q in the community from St. Gabriel's Episcopal Church grounds, Brooklyn, New York, right here on CBC TV 8, and repeated on Tuesday, October 4th at 9:03 p.m. Don't miss it.
President of the Clement Payne Movement, David Comisiong, is calling for Luis Posada Carriles to be extradited to Venezuela. He, along with the late Orlando Bosch, were named as the masterminds behind the 1976 Cubana airline bombing. Comisiong's plea came at the launch of a photo and book exhibition for the 40th anniversary of the event. Well, there he also reiterated his calls for October 6th to be designated by the UN as a day against terrorism.
Justice will not be done. Justice will never really be done. But an important component of justice will not be done until Luis Posada Carriles is made to stand trial and to pay for that crime.
Meantime, Cuban Ambassador, His Excellency Francisco Fernandez Peña, says the justice is long overdue.
For the Cuban people, as part, I repeat, of our Caribbean region, is very sad to go once again claiming for that justice in this supposedly new era or new world.
With additional cases of Zika being reported in Barbados, combined with the recent increase in rains, the Chief Environmental Health Officer is reminding Barbadians to continue to guard against the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Desmond King wants householders to keep their properties free of the pests and wear mosquito repellent whenever possible.
From the Ministry of Health point of view, we have gotten an additional truck and fogging fogging equipment as well. So we're really engaging intensely in terms of our attack. We know that there's something that you'll get must be like the drains and the depression.
Mr. King says there are also plans to follow up some of the department's recent programs, like the successful arbovirus eradication exercise, which was done earlier this year.
Early on, we've had our fishery facility open up, and we're having bodies of water. Bodies of water, we're introducing fish into those bodies as well. And the thing that we have been doing early on in terms of our programming, in terms of having the underground container by utility companies being inspected and baited, we're doing that. We're also doing, where you have complaints being made, we're also investigating that.
Owners of vintage cars in Barbados are praising a government minister and an insurance company for a recent deal. According to the association, called the Barbados Classic Car Enthusiasts, between Sagicor and the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Donville Innes, they can now take better care of their prized possessions. Secretary-Treasurer George Elliott says the minister now allows the association to import the cars duty-free. And about 2 months ago, they also struck a deal with Sagicor.
Great savings. They've come up with a very good package for us, and we can now have our assets, as I would say, insured, because a lot of us spend a lot of money on these cars to maintain them or get them in good shape. And of course, we've had to take the risks, by ourselves. But now we have the opportunity of having them covered.
Well, Mr. Elliott counts about 95 members, many of whom own between 10 and 20 vintage cars. He himself has an impressive collection.
I have an Austin A50, MG Midget, 1965 MG Midget. I have my Ford Popular here. Those who remember my old Dennis fire engine, which is now being restored. I have a couple of Peugeots, various types of Peugeots, and I've just acquired another car in Canada, which I took to the British Car Show there, and that's on the water, but I'll keep that a secret for now.
Also to come, Haiti feels the effects of Hurricane Matthew.